The small village of Oakwood knew Rose Taylor as the kind nurse who worked long hours at the local hospital. After losing her husband in a terrible car crash 3 years ago, Rose had focused all her energy on caring for their daughter Lily and keeping their modest home. Lily hadn't spoken a single word since the accident that took her father. The doctors called it selective mutism brought on by trauma. At 15, she communicated through sign language and by writing notes in a small pad she carried everywhere. Despite her silence, Lily's expressive brown eyes and gentle spirit made her well loved by those who took the time to know her. Life had fallen into a quiet routine for the Taylor women until James Bennett appeared. He came to the hospital as a volunteer, charming the staff with his friendly manner and good looks. It didn't take long before he began paying special attention to Rose. "You work too hard," he told her one evening as he walked her to her car. "Someone should be taking care of you for a change." Rose hadn't expected to find love again, especially not with someone as handsome and attentive as James. He brought her flowers, remembered her favorite foods, and always asked about Lily. 6 months later, when he proposed with a diamond ring that caught the light in dazzling ways, Rose said yes without hesitation. "We'll be a family," James promised. "You, me, and Lily." But while Rose floated on clouds of happiness, Lily felt uneasy. Something about James didn't feel right. When he thought no one was watching, his warm smile disappeared. He checked his phone nervously and often disappeared for urgent business calls. Most concerning was how he acted around Lily when Rose wasn't looking, impatient, cold, and sometimes even annoyed by her disability. "Your mother deserves this happiness," he told Lily one day when they were alone. "Don't ruin it with your suspicions." The wedding date was set for just 2 months after the proposal. Everything moved quickly, too quickly for Lily's comfort. James suggested they sell Rose's paid-off house after the wedding to start fresh in a new city. He convinced Rose to add his name to her bank accounts to make wedding planning easier. He even began suggesting that Rose's friends were jealous of their happiness when they asked too many questions about his past. One evening, while helping address wedding invitations in the living room, Lily noticed James step into the garden to take a call. Through the window, she watched as his friendly face transformed. His jaw tightened, his eyes narrowed, and he gestured angrily while speaking in low tones. When he returned minutes later, the perfect fiancé mask was back in place. "Just wedding stress," he explained to Rose with a charming smile. "The venue is being difficult about our date." That night, Lily couldn't sleep. The wedding was just 4 weeks away, and her worry grew stronger each day. While Rose was sleeping, Lily crept downstairs and found James's laptop open on the dining table. He had forgotten to log out of his email account. What she discovered sent chills down her spine. There were messages with references to different names: Peter Wilson, Mark Thomas, Andrew Baker. One email mentioned the next target and moving funds offshore. Attached to one message was a photo of Rose that had been taken without her knowledge, along with details about her finances, including the life insurance money from her husband's death. Lily's hands trembled as she quickly took photos of the screen with her phone. When she heard footsteps on the stairs, she quickly closed the laptop and pretended to be getting a glass of water. James appeared in the doorway, his eyes narrowed with suspicion. "Having trouble sleeping, Lily? Or were you looking for something?" Lily shook her head and held up her empty glass. "You know," James said, his voice eerily calm, "children who don't speak are often very observant. They see things others might miss. But they should be careful. Not everyone appreciates nosy behavior." The threat in his words was unmistakable. Lily nodded and hurried past him, her heart pounding. In that moment, she knew she had to act quickly. Her mother was in danger, and Lily was the only one who could save her. As she lay in bed that night, Lily made a decision. Tomorrow, she would find help. Her mother's life, and possibly her own, depended on it. The next morning, Lily woke early and got ready for school as usual. Rose had already left for her morning shift at the hospital. As Lily packed her lunch, she heard the front door open. James walked in, using the key Rose had given him. "Good morning, Lily," he said with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Your mother asked me to check on you before I head to my business meeting." Lily nodded, gripping her backpack tighter. "You know," James said, casually picking up a framed photo of Rose and Lily. "I've done some research on selective mutism. Interesting condition. Some doctors believe people choose not to speak because they're hiding something." He put the photo down and looked directly at her. "Are you hiding something, Lily?" She shook her head quickly. "Good. Because I want us to be friends. After all, I'll be your new father soon." He glanced at his watch. "Better hurry, don't want to be late for school." The moment James left, Lily changed her plans. Instead of heading to school, she took a different route. She needed to find William Cooper, her father's old friend who worked as a detective. Dad had always said, "If you're ever in trouble and I'm not around, go to Will." Taking 3 different buses across town, Lily finally reached the small brick building where William worked. When she entered his office, the secretary looked up in surprise. "Can I help you, dear?" Lily wrote quickly on her notepad, "Need to see William Cooper. I'm Thomas Taylor's daughter." Minutes later, she sat across from a man with kind eyes and graying hair who looked genuinely happy to see her. "Lily. My goodness, you've grown." His smile faded as he noticed her serious expression. "What's wrong?" Lily pulled out her phone and showed William the photos she'd taken of James's emails. She then wrote a long note explaining everything: James's sudden appearance, the quick engagement, his secret calls, and the threatening way he spoke to her last night. William studied the evidence carefully, his face growing more concerned. "This is serious, Lily. These emails match patterns we see in romantic scammers who target widows. They gain trust, get added to accounts, and then disappear with the money." He looked at her with newfound respect. "You were very brave to come here." William made several phone calls while Lily waited nervously. He spoke in quiet tones, mentioning background check, previous reports, and possible identity fraud. After hanging up, he turned to Lily. "I need to tell you something difficult. The man your mother knows as James Bennett has used at least 3 other names in the past 5 years. In each case, he romanced a widow, married her quickly, gained access to her finances, and then emptied her accounts before disappearing." Lily's eyes widened in horror. "His real name is Robert Taylor, no relation to your family. He's wanted in 3 counties for fraud and theft." William leaned forward. "When is the wedding?" Lily held up 3 fingers, then wrote, 3 weeks. "We don't have much time. I need to gather more evidence before we can go to your mother with this. She won't believe us without solid proof." Just then, Lily's phone buzzed with a text from Rose. "James just told me you weren't at school today. Where are you? Call me please." William noticed her panic. "Don't worry. I'll drive you home and tell your mother you were helping me with a project about your father for the community center. It's not completely untrue. Thomas was a hero in our department." On the drive home, William explained his plan. "I'll contact the other victims and gather statements. We'll need photos, bank records, everything we can find. Meanwhile, you need to act normal. Don't let James suspect you know anything." When they reached Lily's house, Rose was waiting on the porch, worry etched on her face. William got out first, greeting her warmly. "Rose. Sorry to worry you. Lily was helping me with a memorial project for Thomas. I should have called." Rose's relief was obvious as she hugged Lily. "Next time let me know, please. I was so worried." Over Rose's shoulder, Lily saw James watching from the window, his eyes cold and calculating. When Rose invited William in for coffee, James greeted him with perfect politeness, but Lily noticed how he studied William carefully. That evening, after William left and Rose went to prepare dinner, James cornered Lily in the hallway. "Detective friends now," he whispered. "Not a smart move, Lily. Your mother won't believe a child over the man she loves. And after we're married, things will change around here. Remember that." Lily held his gaze, refusing to show fear. For the first time since her father died, she felt a spark of something powerful: determination. The wedding was 3 weeks away, and the clock was ticking. The wedding preparations moved ahead quickly. Rose chose a simple white dress that made her dark skin glow. She asked Lily to be her maid of honor, and despite her growing fears, Lily agreed. She would stand by her mother to protect her if needed. William called Lily each day while she was at school, sharing updates in their secret investigation. He had found 3 women who confirmed Robert Taylor had stolen their savings after whirlwind romances. One woman, Ellen Morris, had lost her house and nearly $100,000. Ellen is willing to come forward, William told Lily over the phone. She has photos, bank statements, everything we need. But when Lily tried showing her mother an article about Robert's crimes under a different name, Rose refused to believe it. James already told me about this, Rose said, handing back Lily's phone. Someone has been using his identity. He's the victim here, not the criminal. James had planned for everything. He had fake police reports showing he was the victim of identity theft. He had charming explanations for every question. And he was slowly turning Rose against anyone who doubted him, including her own daughter. I know this is hard, Rose told Lily one evening. But James makes me happy. After losing your father, I never thought I'd feel this way again. Please try, for me. Lily nodded, her heart breaking for her mother. How could she make Rose see the truth? With just 10 days until the wedding, James moved his plans forward. He convinced Rose to transfer her savings into a joint account for wedding expenses. He talked about selling their house even sooner than planned. And most worrying, he began suggesting that Lily might benefit from a boarding school where they specialize in children with her condition. She needs professional help, he told Rose when he thought Lily couldn't hear. And we need time to start our marriage without the stress of caring for her. That night, Lily snuck out of her bedroom window and walked 6 blocks to use the payphone at the gas station. She called William, her hands shaking so badly she could barely hold the receiver. He's moving faster than we expected, William said after hearing her update. But we're close to having everything we need. Ellen agreed to come to the wedding in case we need her to identify him. 2 other victims are giving statements tomorrow. Lily banged the phone against the wall in frustration. Tomorrow might be too late. I know, Lily. I'm worried too. Just hold on a little longer. And remember, do nothing that puts you in danger. The next day, James announced he needed to take Rose on an overnight trip to meet with the honeymoon travel agent. It's a surprise, he told Rose with a charming smile. We'll leave tomorrow morning and be back the next day. Lily felt sick. She knew what this really was, a test run for their escape after the wedding. If Rose left with him now, would she even come back? While Rose packed a small overnight bag, James cornered Lily in the kitchen. Your mother and I will have a wonderful life, he said quietly. With or without you in it. That depends entirely on how you behave these next few days. Lily stared at him, refusing to look away. Such a brave little girl, he mocked. Did you know I checked the phone records? All those calls to Detective Cooper. Do you really think he can stop me? By the time he gathers his so-called evidence, your mother and I will be married. And once I'm legally her husband, everything she owns is half mine. Lily grabbed her notepad and wrote furiously, I know who you really are, Robert. His face changed instantly, the mask slipping to reveal cold fury. He grabbed her wrist hard enough to bruise and whispered, one word about this to your mother, and you'll regret it. Children have accidents all the time. The threat hung in the air between them. When Rose entered the kitchen, James immediately transformed back into the loving fiancé, releasing Lily's wrist and smiling warmly. Just giving Lily some tips on houseplants while we're away, he said smoothly. That night, Lily couldn't sleep. The overnight trip was tomorrow. The wedding was just 8 days away. William needed more time to gather evidence, but time was running out. In the darkness of her room, Lily made a desperate decision. If no one would listen to her written words, perhaps they would have to hear her spoken ones. She hadn't used her voice in 3 years, but for her mother's sake, she would find it again. She practiced in whispers, her throat raw and voice scratchy from disuse. Stop. Please stop. Over and over until tears ran down her face. It had to work. She had no other choice. The morning of the overnight trip arrived with gray skies and light rain. Rose bustled around the house, excited and distracted. James waited in the living room, checking his watch repeatedly. "We should leave soon to avoid traffic," he called to Rose. Lily stood in the hallway, her school backpack slung over her shoulder. She had packed something else inside it, her father's old tape recorder with evidence she had gathered by recording James's phone calls when he thought she wasn't listening. "Lily, we'll be back tomorrow evening," Rose said, hugging her daughter. "Mrs. Parker next door will check on you tonight. Be good, okay?" Lily nodded, hugging her mother tightly, afraid to let go. Over Rose's shoulder, she saw James watching them with cold eyes. Just as they were about to leave, Lily's phone buzzed with a text from William, urgent news. "Don't let Rose leave with him. Stall them. Coming now." Lily's heart raced. She had to do something quickly. As Rose picked up her overnight bag, Lily suddenly clutched her stomach and fell to her knees, pretending to be in pain. "Lily!" Rose dropped her bag and rushed to her daughter. "What's wrong? Are you sick?" Lily continued her act, pointing to her stomach and grimacing. Rose felt her forehead for fever. "James, I can't leave her like this. She might need to go to the doctor." James's face tightened with poorly concealed anger. "It's probably just a stomach ache. Or maybe she's faking to get attention." Rose looked shocked. "James! She's clearly not well." "Fine," he said, forcing a concerned tone. "Let me take your bag to the car while you check on her. We can delay by an hour, but we have a non-refundable reservation." As James carried the bags outside, Rose helped Lily to the couch. "What hurts, sweetheart? Do you need medicine?" Lily shook her head and pointed urgently to her phone, showing Rose William's text message. "What? Why is William texting you about James?" Rose looked confused, then disappointed. "Lily, we talked about this. Your suspicions about James aren't healthy." The front door opened as James returned. At the same moment, Lily's phone rang, William calling. Before Lily could answer, James snatched the phone from her hand. "Let's see who's so desperate to reach you," he said, his voice dangerously calm. Seeing William's name, his expression darkened. He answered the call himself. "Detective Cooper, this is James Bennett. Lily can't come to the phone right now." Lily couldn't hear William's response, but James's face grew increasingly tense. "I don't know what you think you're doing, but these accusations are ridiculous," James said coldly. "Rose and I are leaving for our trip now. Any further harassment will result in a complaint to your department." He hung up and turned to Rose with a practiced look of confusion and hurt. "That detective friend of your late husband has been filling Lily's head with crazy ideas. He claims I'm some kind of con man using a fake identity." He took Rose's hands. "You don't believe that, do you?" Rose looked uncertain, glancing between James and Lily. "Of course not, but why would William say such things? Who knows? Jealousy? Overprotectiveness?" James shook his head sadly. "We need to leave now, Rose. This trip is important." Lily grabbed her backpack and pulled out the tape recorder, desperately pressing play. James's voice filled the room. "Once we're married, I'll transfer her accounts offshore. The house should sell quickly. Yes, I've used the same approach before. The silent daughter is a nuisance but not a problem." James lunged for the recorder, but Rose grabbed it first, her hands shaking as she listened. The color drained from her face. "What is this?" she whispered. "It's nothing," James said quickly. "Taken out of context. Your daughter has been spying and recording private business calls." "Business calls about my accounts? About my daughter being a nuisance?" Rose's voice hardened. A car pulled up outside, doors slamming. James looked panicked for the first time. "We need to leave now," he insisted, grabbing Rose's arm. The front door burst open. William entered with 2 police officers. Robert Taylor, one officer announced, "We have a warrant for your arrest on multiple counts of fraud and identity theft." James or Robert backed away. "This is ridiculous." "Rose, tell them this is a mistake." Rose stood frozen, the tape recorder still playing his damning words. She looked at the man she had nearly married with growing horror. "Rose, remember how much you love me," Robert pleaded, his charm returning. 3 years alone was enough, wasn't it? You need me. As everyone watched, waiting for Rose's response, Lily moved to stand between her mother and the man who had nearly destroyed their lives. She looked directly into Robert's eyes, found her courage, and broke her 3 years of silence. "Leave my mother alone," she said, her voice raspy but clear. The room fell completely silent at the sound of Lily's voice. Rose's eyes filled with tears, not of sadness but of wonder and pride. Robert's face twisted with anger as the police officers moved toward him. "This is a mistake," he insisted. "Rose, you know me. 3 months together, all those plans, you can't believe I would hurt you." Rose found her strength and stepped forward, her arm around Lily's shoulders. "I believe my daughter. I believe the evidence. And I believe you've done this before." William nodded to someone waiting outside. A woman with short gray hair entered the house, her face hardening when she saw Robert. "That's him," she said firmly. "That's the man who called himself Peter Wilson when he married me, emptied my bank accounts, and disappeared with my life savings." Robert's charm fell away completely. "You'll never prove anything," he snarled as the officers handcuffed him. "We already have," William explained. "Bank records, witness statements, and your own recorded words. You'll be facing charges in 3 counties. As the police led Robert away, Rose sank onto the couch, shaking. "I almost married him," she whispered. "I almost let him into our lives completely." Lily sat beside her mother and took her hand. "Not your fault," she said slowly, each word requiring effort after years of silence. Rose's eyes widened again at hearing Lily's voice. "You're speaking," she said in wonder, tears flowing freely. "My brave, beautiful girl." William gave them space, stepping outside to speak with the officers. When he returned, he explained that Robert Taylor had targeted at least 7 women in similar situations, all widows with children, all with some savings or property. "He would have emptied your accounts during your honeymoon," William explained. "By the time you realized what happened, he would have disappeared with a new identity." Rose nodded, still processing the terrible truth. "Thank you for believing Lily when I didn't." "She's as stubborn as her father was," William said with a gentle smile. "Thomas would be incredibly proud of her right now." The days that followed were difficult. Rose had to cancel the wedding, explain the situation to confused family and friends, and cope with her feelings of embarrassment and betrayal. But through it all, Lily remained her strength. Each day, Lily spoke a little more. Her voice grew stronger with practice and speech therapy. The words came slowly at first, but with increasing confidence. One evening, 2 weeks after Robert's arrest, Rose and Lily sat on their porch swing watching the sunset. The wedding day had come and gone without celebration, but with something more valuable: truth and safety. "I keep thinking about what might have happened if you hadn't been so brave," Rose said, squeezing Lily's hand. "How did you know?" "His eyes," Lily said simply. "Never," matched his smile. Rose nodded thoughtfully. "I was so lonely after losing your father. I wanted to believe someone could love us again." "Someone will," Lily assured her. "Someone, real." As if summoned by their conversation, a car pulled into their driveway. William stepped out, carrying a folder and a small bouquet of wildflowers. "Just checking in," he said, handing the flowers to Rose. "And bringing an update. Robert will be in jail for a long time. They've found evidence connecting him to fraud cases in 2 more states." Rose invited him to join them on the porch. As they talked, Lily noticed something she hadn't seen before: the gentle way William looked at her mother, with respect and genuine caring. Not the flashy charm Robert had displayed, but something quieter and more truthful. Later that night, Lily found Rose looking through old photo albums, smiling at pictures of happier times with Lily's father. I miss him every day, Rose said as Lily sat beside her. But he would want us to be happy, to move forward. One step at a time, Lily said, her speech improving daily. Yes, Rose agreed, closing the album. And our first step is to make sure nothing like this happens again. I'm going to listen more carefully, especially to you. The next morning, Rose took a day off work. She and Lily went to the park where they had often gone as a family when Lily's father was alive. They sat by the small lake, watching ducks glide across the water. I'd been thinking, Rose said. The house is paid for, we don't need to sell it. This is our home, filled with good memories. We should stay. Lily smiled and nodded. And I was wondering, Rose continued hesitantly, how would you feel if I invited William over for dinner sometimes? Just as a friend, of course. I'd like that, Lily said, surprising herself with how easily the words came now. As they walked home, Lily realized something important had changed. The silence that had protected her from pain for 3 years had nearly cost them everything. Now her voice, rusty and uncertain as it was, had become their salvation. That evening, as Rose cooked dinner, Lily stood before the mirror in her room and practiced the words she had held inside for too long. I love you, Mom. We're going to be okay. The words were simple, but they held all the truth that mattered.